Good morning, Morai Rabotai, Bruchim Abayim. We are continuing on Masechet Makkot, and we are on Daf Tet Zayin, Amud Aleph, in the middle of the Amud. Today's Amud is being learned as a schut for Refuah Shelema, for Mordechai Avshin ben Shoshana, Shahnaz, and for Refuah Shelema of Rachel Simcha Bat Nahid, that should have full recovery, Refuah Shelema, Be'ezrat Hashem. Amen. This month's learnings of the community has been sponsored graciously by the Dayan family, by Kohen family, and by Shea family. Should be an ultimate schut for all their families, Be'ezrat Hashem. Amen. So we started the machloket of Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish, whether by love that we spoke about Rabbi Yehuda, the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda, by lav hanitak laaseh, and each one of Rabbi Yochanan and Rish Lakish learned it very differently. So we had one case, a case study of a korban that became notar. Lo totiru mimenu ad boker. Don't leave korban pesach to be left over the flesh until the morning. And the pasuk says, if you have any leftovers, ba'esh tisrofu, burn it. But once it becomes notar. So Rabbi Yehuda says, the Torah has given you a mitzvah aseh, a positive mitzvah to burn it, for you not to get malkut. Now we mentioned that there are two different reasons, aside from lav hanitak laseh, why you would imagine that this case of notar would not get malkut. A, if you leave it until the morning, which makes you transgress the lav, have you done anything? No. You transgress it by not doing anything. And that's lav she'en bo maaseh. So lav she'en bo maaseh, we mentioned you don't really get malkut. And the third reason really, the second additional reason to that is, if you transgress the lav of notar, and they give you hatra'ah as you're doing it. You say, don't leave this over, because if you leave it, you're going to get malkut. Well, at the time that they're giving you hatra'ah, that is hatra'at safek, because maybe you're going to eat it in 5 minutes, in 5 hours. It's hatra'at safek. So Rish Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan, both of them take this Rabbi Yehuda and they understand it completely differently. Rabbi Yochanan takes a look at this Rabbi Yehuda and says, well, you see from here, the hatra'at safek, shema hatra. Even though that when you give him hatra'ah, it's not so pashut if he's going to actually leave it over until the morning. If he ends up leaving it until the morning, it was a good hatra'ah, and you would have given him malkut had it not been because of lav hanitak laseh. That's Rabbi Yochanan. Rish Lakish takes a look at the same Rabbi Yehuda and says, well, not like this, not like Rabbi Yochanan, but rather, he takes a look and says, well, you see from Rabbi Yehuda that had it not been a lav hanitak laseh, had it not said in the pasuk, va'notar mimenu ad boker ba'esh tisrofu, that you burn it in the morning if it's left over, you would have gotten malkut. Even though that the way you transgressed it is just to sit by and do nothing, still you would get malkut. So says Rish Lakish, you see from here, lav she'en bo maaseh, lokina lav. A lav that doesn't include any action, you still get malkut. Each one of them brought a raya directly from Rabbi Yehuda. Why then don't learn like the other person? Rabbi Yochanan brought a raya from Rabbi Yehuda, and Rish Lakish brought a raya from Rabbi Yehuda. We're going to quickly read through it, even though that we ended up with this yesterday, but we went through it quickly, just to have a quick recap, because the Gemara now is going to ask a question on both of them. So says the Gemara, Rish Lakish, this is about 13 lines down from the top of the Amud. Rish Lakish Nami havadai hatra'at safeku. Says this is also hatra'at safek over here in this case. Savar ki idachtana de Rabbi Yehuda. He learns like a different Rabbi Yehuda. In other words, he's trying to understand the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda and says, well, I use a different Rabbi Yehuda to understand this one, the Tanya. Hikazeh vechazar veikazeh. If we have, we explained this yesterday, if you have a son that is questionable who of the two people are his fathers, the two husbands of his mother, that she married them back to back, divorced one and married the same day or the next day the other one, and then after 6 months she had a baby. You don't know which is the father, and now he is cursing these men or hitting these men that may be his father. So says the Gemara, if he does it in separate occasions, not together, he hits them or he curses them separately, not together. Says Rabbi Yehuda, if he does it together, he's chayav malkut. But if he does it separately, he will be patur. Or chayav mita, however you say this, mot yumat. So says the Gemara, you see from here that Rabbi Yehuda holds hatra'at safek is not hatra'ah. Rish Lakish says, I found in Rabbi Yehuda that says black on white, the hatra'at safek, if you give warning while you're not sure, it doesn't count for anything. Now, there's 50% chance that this guy is his father, but you can't tell him, well, don't curse your father, you're going to get mita, or you're going to get punished. You can't say that because it's 50% not his father, it's hatra'at safek. Unless he has both of these men together, and he wants to curse or hit both of them simultaneously, then if you give him hatra'ah, however you slice this, your hatra'ah is good. But if it's one person and then the other person, each one of the hatra'ah that you give him is hatra'at safek. And Rabbi Yehuda says himself that hatra'at safek. So Rabbi Lakish says, you know why I learned the hatra'ah, the Rabbi Yehuda by notar, the way I learned it? In other words, there's two ways to learn Rabbi Yehuda of Korban Pesach, right? When Rabbi Yehuda says you don't get malkut for Korban Pesach, the two ways to understand. Rabbi Yochanan understood the same Rabbi Yehuda one way, Rish Lakish learned it the other way. How did Rish Lakish learn it? Let's do a quick review. Rish Lakish said, I see from Rabbi Yehuda that lav she'en bo ma'aseh you get malkut. Because Rabbi Yehuda says, well, the reason you don't get malkut is because it says in the morning you burn korban pesach. Is lav hanitak la'aseh. Had it not been because of this aseh of burning the korban in the morning, if you have leftovers, you would have gotten malkut for leaving over korban pesach. Which tells me, says Resh Lakish, a lav, if it's transgressed even without any action, you still get malkut. You see from the same Rabbi Yehuda that if you have a lav, like leaving Korban Pesach over, which is going to be hatra'at safek, seems to be, Rabbi Yehuda says, hatra'at safek is good, because Rabbi Yehuda is telling you, if it wasn't because of the aseh, you would get lashes. Even though that when you give him hatra'ah, you don't know if he's going to eat it or not. Right? So from that Rabbi Yehuda, you see hatra'at safek shena hatra'ah. You have a stira between two Rabbi Yehudas, like a blatant stira. Rabbi Yehuda of Korban Pesach seems to suggest very directly that if your hatra'ah is not for sure, is hatra'at safek, the warning that is doubtful still is a good warning. This that Rish Lakish just found right now is also Rabbi Yehuda, same person, and seems to clearly say hatra'at safek lav shema hatra'ah, because if you tell him don't hit this man, he may be your father, that's not hatra'ah at all. So this Rabbi Yehuda says hatra'at safek is good. This Rabbi Yehuda says hatra'at safek is not good. a blatant stira between Rabbi Yehuda. That's in Resh Lakish. But at least Resh Lakish has what to say. He says, I found a Rabbi Yehuda that says, Hatra'at Safek, Lav Shema Hatra'ah. And I go with that. Now, he has to deal with the fact that there's a stira between Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yochanan is going to be in the same exact position, as we're going to explain. Now, again, let's go back. What did Rabbi Yehuda see in, Rabbi Yochanan rather see in Rabbi Yehuda? He learns Rabbi Yehuda of Korban Pesach, which Rabbi Yehuda says, well, because there is the mitzvah aseh of burning the extra Korban Pesach in the morning, that's why you don't get Malkut. Had it not been because of mitzvah aseh of burning it in the morning, you would get Malkut. And says Rabbi Yochanan, aha! You see from this Rabbi Yehuda that lav she'en bo maaseh, he doesn't say that, like Resh Lakish, you see from here, hatra'at safek shema hatra'ah. That's what he says. According to Rabbi Yochanan, also you have a problem. You have a problem that from this Rabbi Yehuda, you see, had it not been because of the burning mitzvah aseh of burning Korban Pesach in the morning, you would get Malkut even though that you did nothing. Just you sat by and the Korban Pesach became notar, you still would get Malkut. You see that clearly in Rabbi Yehuda. And now Rabbi Yochanan went and found a different Rabbi Yehuda that says any lav that doesn't have maaseh, you don't get Malkut on it. So that's also a blatant stira. Because Rabbi Yehuda in Korban Pesach tells you, if you transgress the lav even without maaseh, you still get Malkut. And now I found a different Rabbi Yehuda that says anything that doesn't have action, you don't get Malkut. Stira again. So Rabbi Yochanan also has to deal with this stira. However you slice this, there is a bombe kasha, there's a direct contradiction between the two Rabbi Yehudas. Now just let's learn through the words of the Gemara for Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan Nami, the line starts with Patur, middle of the Amud. Rabbi Yochanan Nami, Havadai lav she'en bo ma'asehu. According to Rabbi Yochanan, this is lav she'en bo ma'aseh. Leaving Korban Pesach until the morning and making it notar, you did nothing. It's lav she'en bo ma'aseh. And you see Rabbi Yehuda holds that you get Malkut for it. Says no. He found a different Rabbi Yehuda that says clearly you don't get Malkut for it. Savara kiha, the Amar, let's go through the chain of command. Rav Idi bar Avin, Amar Rav Amram, Amar Rav Yitzchak, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. All of them in the name of Rabbi Yochanan said, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Mishum Rabbi Yossi HaGalili. Rabbi Yehuda said this in the name of his Rabbi, Rabbi Yossi HaGalili. Kol lo ta'aseh shebatorah, any don't do in the Torah, lav sheyesh bo ma'aseh. Lokin, if you transgress it by acting, you get Malkut. Lav she'en bo ma'aseh, if you transgress it by doing nothing without ma'aseh, en lokin alav, then you don't get Malkut. Rabbi Yochanan says, I hold like this, Rabbi Yehuda. But again, we just mentioned that he still has to deal with a stira in Rabbi Yehuda. That's like, however you slice this, you have to deal with that. Then, before we deal with the stira, it says the exceptions. Chutz mina nishba, aside from someone that took an oath, and this has to be in past tense, says Rashi, because we mentioned shuvah lehaba, it's hatrat safek, right? If you have in past, you say, I ate this. Kikar, I take an oath that I did this, and then it turns out that he didn't, then it's a shvuah that you get malkut, even though that you did nothing, you just spoke. So the anomalies, the exceptions is three. Nishba, memer is, you said this is a korban, and now you say, okay, no, not this one, this one. You're not allowed to switch. If you switched, you get malkut. If you curse someone with the name of Hashem, those are the three exceptions that even though that you did nothing, you just spoke, you will get malkut. Fine. Now the Gemara deals with the bomb question in the whole Gemara that we just spoke about. Kasha Rabbi Yehuda, Ila Resh Lakish. The Gemara says both according to Resh Lakish and Rabbi Yochanan, you have a stira between Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yehuda. Says the Gemara. Ila Resh Lakish Teretanaya Liba Rabbi Yehuda. The Gemara says I acknowledge according to Resh Lakish there's no two ways about this. there's a stira, and Resh Lakish will tell you, well, there is a machloket how Rabbi Yehuda said this actually. One person says Rabbi Yehuda holds like this, one person holds Rabbi Yehuda holds like this. One of them is wrong. I go with the one, says Resh Lakish, I go with the one that I found later, not the one of Pesach, but the one of cursing the father. I go with that one, says Resh Lakish. Well, you could tell me why? No, that's stira, right? So I hold that hatrat safek, lav shematra. That's according to Resh Lakish. Il Rabbi Yochanan, says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan also has to deal with this stira. Says the Gemara, that's not a question at all, because you remember the one that we just had at the end was Rabbi Yehuda in the name of his Rabbi Yossi HaGalili. So says the Gemara lo kasha, hadideh hadrabe. Rabbi Yehuda himself holds lav she'en bo maaseh lokin alav. Unlike what we thought until now, Rabbi Yehuda himself holds, like the case of notar by Pesach, that you would have gotten lashes for leaving off Korban Pesach until the morning had it not been because of the mitzvah aseh of burning it, even though that leaving it until the morning has no action. So a lav that doesn't have any action, you still get lashes for it, according to Rabbi Yehuda. But Rabbi Yochanan holds like Rabbi Yossi HaGalili, like the other Rabbi Yehuda. When Rabbi Yehuda says something in the name of his Rabbi Yossi HaGalili, and that's what the shita of Rabbi Yochanan is, that kol lav she'en bo maaseh, any lav that does not involve in action, in its transgression, you don't get malkut for it. Which is the halacha, because halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan. But that is the reconciliation between the two parts of Rabbi Yehuda. It's not both Rabbi Yehuda. One of them is Rabbi Yossi HaGalili, mentioned by Rabbi Yehuda. Chulin, Taf Kuf Mem Aleph, we have in the whole perek is called perek Shiluach HaKen, right? It speaks about the mitzvah of Shiluach HaKen, right? You have the mother bird, the babies or the eggs, and the Torah says don't take them together. Shaleach teshalach et ha'em ve'et habanim tikach lach. Send the mother away, and you could take the children or the eggs, right? That's the mitzvah. So if you take the mother with the children, and you want to make shish kebab out of all of them, you just transgressed a lo taseh. It says lo tikach et ha'em al habanim. The Torah says. The full pasuk starts like this: don't take the mother with the chicks. Send the mother away, and then take the chicks. So you have a lo taseh, and you have a mitzvah taseh. Right? This sounds like a lav she almost kedamo aseh, not in chronology, but it's a aseh that stands alone. Send the mother away, even before you take the chicks. But once you take all of them, it's machloket. Do you get lashes, or do you not get lashes? You come to the bedin with the mother and the chicks. You have the whole nest, right? So you took it. Already you transgressed the law. Do you already get malkut right now? Or does the Betin tell you, well, send them away and don't get malkut? Which one is it? So says the Gemara. Tanan Hatam, this is, the reason he says Tanan Hatam is because the place of it is not really here. The place of it is in Masechet Chulin Kuf Mem Aleph. Hanotel em alabanim. If you did take the mother bird together with the chicks or with the eggs, Rabbi Yehuda Omer Lokeh. Rabbi Yehuda says you already get lashes, right? Because you transgressed it. The fact that now you could send it off, it's not a lav hanitak laseh. It's not a fix, because it's mentioned before. It says first to send the mother and then take the chicks. So if you already took the mother, there's no fixing it. You already did it, right? So lokeh ve'eno meshaleach. Says you already took them, you absorb the 39 lashes, and you don't have to send it away. It doesn't fix anything. Chachamim say no. Meshaleach ve'eno lokeh. You send the mother still, and you don't get lashes, you could still fix it, even though that you transgress. This is like a regular Lavani taklase, you could send the mother away. And says the Gemara, second white line, Ze haklal. Kol mitzvat lo ta'aseh, any mitzvah of don't do, sheyesh bah kum aseh, that has a fix of kum aseh, you have a mitzvah aseh that could fix it, ein chayavin aleha. You don't get malkut, you don't not chayav malkut. So Amar Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan says, wait a second. There aren't that many examples like this. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, en lanu ela zot ve'ot acheret. There are only two examples of this type of scenario. There is one mitzvah of shiluach hakan, and there is one more. That's it. The cases that you have that are like shiluach hakan are only two. Shiluach hakan and one more. The Torah says don't do it. If you did it, Rabbi Yehuda says, well, you get malkut already, and Chachamim say, no, you still could fix it. What is the other one? Amar Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Elazar was a Talmid Chaver of Rabbi Yochanan, right? He was the Rav Harashi of Eretz Yisrael. Mara Da'ara the Yisraeli was called. He's actually the one that was suggested to learn and be a Chavruta with Rabbi Yochanan after the death of Resh Lakish, which didn't really work well, the Chavruta, because he would not challenge him enough. He would just bring proofs for what he said. But nevertheless, Rabbi Elazar was one of the main top Talmidim, Talmid Chaver of Rabbi Yochanan. So Rabbi Elazar tells him, Hecha, where is the other one? What is the second example? And Rabbi Yochanan tells him, go find out. Lechi tishkach, when you find it, which means go find it. Nafak, dak, v'ashkach, Rabbi Elazar went out and found the example, the Tanya, as we learned in the Braita. Ones shegiresh, a me'anes, a rapist that married the girl, and then he divorced her. Now, the mitzvah is you can lo yuchal shanecha kol yamav. You cannot divorce her. And we had a question, what happens if he divorced her, right? So it says, the Braita, this is the Braita that we had before, Im Yisrael hu machzir, ve'eno loke. If he is a regular Jew, a non-Kohen, he will marry her again after the divorce, and he doesn't absorb the lashes. Ve'im kohenu, but if he's a kohen, he can't marry his divorcee anymore, then loke ve'eno machazir. He gets the lashes, and of course he cannot return the wife. Says the Gemara, Hani chaleman detani kiemo velo kiemo. This only works according to the Manda Amar, kiemo velo kiemo. Ela lemanda Amar, detani bitelo velo bitelo. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, how does this work? Because you want to lash him, so you divorced him. You should not have divorced him. Let's give you lashes, right? He says, well, how do you know? Maybe I want to marry her in a month from now. It's not working. The hotels are expensive, whatever, summer, right? You can't give him lashes like that. If you hold this kiyemo velo kiyemo, which means the moment you transgress, you already are chayav malkut unless you right away fix it. So Bedin could bring him to the Bedin with the lash out and say, either marry her right now or we give you lashes. They could do that. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, so long as you have not destroyed the possibility of fixing it, we can't give you lashes. So if he says, I'm still maybe planning in future to marry her, you can't give him lashes. So says the Gemara, how do you find that? Bishlama, we understand, in the example of Shiluach Haken, it's easy to find out, according to Rabbi Yochanan, what happens. Mashkachat lah, you could find the case if you shechted the mother. Right? If you brought the whole nest home and you shechted the mother already, now what are you going to do? Send the mother where? In the garbage can? The mother is dead. So once you nullify the possibility of sending the mother away, then you get lashes. Well, over here, in the case of the woman, you divorced her. Right? You divorced. So what are you going to do now? You killed the woman? How's it going to work? If you killed her, right? Then he gets killed, the man. He gets the bigger onish. Forget about malkut. He's going to get the death penalty. Amar Rab Tzvi Mechuzna, Kekol shekibel la kiddushin macher. Says the Gemara, the case is, if you, the rapist, divorced her, and then you went and accepted kiddushin from Reuben to marry him. You facilitated for her to be married to someone else. Now that she's married to someone else, she could never come back to you. In other words, the law is, a person cannot be machzir gerushato achar nisuin. If you divorced a wife and you're not a Kohen, you could marry her, right? You could marry her. One of my friends was passing with his father by a store many years ago when he was young. His father was the main person that was the Rav Harashi of Iran. I said, you see this guy? This guy has divorced his wife 10 times and has married her 11 times, right? Every time they get into a fight, he gives him a get, right? So that, but if she got married in between with someone else, that's it. You can never, ever, even if they get divorced, even if he dies, you can never return this wife and get married to her, right? So the Gemara says, that's the case, that you nullified the opportunity of getting married to her ever again, and that's the two examples. The Gemara is going to challenge this tomorrow, but Be'ezrat Hashem will continue the rest of the Gemara.